Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we are going to be looking at all the best bits from episode 2 of She-Hulk. So let's get cracking on. So the episode starts off straight after the events of the first episode, and it explains that She-Hulk herself has now become viral and very famous since the episode, with her being plastered all over the news and everywhere. Whilst on a night out after work, She-Hulk is at a bar with her friend, co-worker, who's in the bar and tells her basically to turn into She-Hulk. And when she gets in there, everyone's just like chanting She-Hulk, She-Hulk, She-Hulk. And while she's in there drinking as She-Hulk with her friend, her boss comes in and lets her know that the case that she was trialing at the time of the incident has now gone down as a mistrial, because basically she saved the jury's life, and now the jury can't be, you know, an impartial jury. So they basically had to give it a mistrial. And in doing so, her company is basically now saying that they got to let her go because she's a liability to their cases. And after finding out she was fired, she obviously drowns her sorrows that evening, and then it goes on to show her trying to apply for multiple other jobs afterwards, in which she basically is not getting hired by anyone now, and actually one potential employer actually calls her a sideshow, in that they can't afford to take a risk on her. In the next big part of the episode, it basically, Jen is going back to see her mum and dad. She's got a bit of a family reunion going on, and she gets in there, they're all sitting down talking and stuff, and literally all she keeps getting asked about is Hawkeye and the Avengers and her being the She-Hulk. Whilst all the talking's going on, clearly her dad can see that, you know, Jennifer's not doing so well, so he makes out that he's got something he needs to talk to her, help. He makes out that he needs her to help him with something in the garage, which is obviously a lie. He just wants to get her alone and have a heart-to-heart with her. And while they're alone, he starts trying to get her to open up and get her to explain to him, you know, how she's doing and stuff like that. She obviously explains to him how she's feeling after losing her job, how she thought that she could, you know, avoid, you know, having to deal with being a She-Hulk. But he explains to her that she has to keep moving on, and basically that, you know, it's not all over, and that to, you know, keep looking up. That leads us into the third best bit of the episode. So basically, Jennifer is at a bar drowning her sorrows because she's lost her job now, and she's now got to face up to being a Hulk, and she doesn't want to do that, you know. She obviously, part of her hates that Bruce was right after all. And while drowning her sorrow, the opposition lawyer from her case shows up, and he basically is telling her that he wants to offer her a job, and that they got this brand new special division aimed at superpowered people, and he wants her to head up that division, and that she starts on Monday if she wants the job. So we skip forward to Monday. She's showing up as her job, and while she's in the main reception area, he shows up. He's happy to see her, that she's there for the job now, but he basically explains to her that they don't want Jennifer Walters for this job. They want She-Hulk, and that whenever she's at work, she has to be She-Hulk. And they also explain that he basically wants her to be the leader of this new special division, and that basically to be the leader, she's gonna have to be She-Hulk all the time. He then proceeds to show her to her office, and in doing so, the whole time that they're walking to her office, she's basically breaking the fourth wall, talking about all the other people she's walking past, how everyone's staring at her, and how, you know, she obviously believes that she's more qualified than any of them. And then she gets to the end of the hall, and he shows her brand new massive office, way bigger than the office that she had before. Her friend's there from her previous law firm, and explain to her how great the view is and how everything's amazing. While she's looking around the room now, a guy called Paul shows up, who many will recognize as Adrian Chase from Arrow. He shows up, gives her a welcome basket, and welcomes her to the firm. In the fourth best moment of the episode, her boss calls her in and gives her first case, which is to represent Blonsky, aka Abomination, which she straight away refuses, and her boss basically proceeds to tell her that Blonsky specifically requested her, and basically telling her that she's literally got no choice. She takes the job, or she takes the case, or she's got no job. So at the very least, she agrees to meet him and go to the prison and see what he's like. But when she shows up, she's obviously She-Hulk, because that's what her boss has told her to be 24/7. But the guards at the prison tell her she can't basically go in the prison as She-Hulk, because this is no superpowered people's place. So she has to go back to Jennifer Walters. So she gets in to see him, and she finds out that he's not Abomination, which is clearly a surprise to her because she was expecting to go in there and see an Abomination. And obviously she asks him about how comes he's not Abomination, etc., etc. And he goes on to explain to her that he chooses not to be Abomination. He doesn't really overly explain why, so it's not quite sure if, you know, if it's something he's had or if he's actually able to control when and where he transforms into Abomination. And basically he goes on to give her his backstory, so basically everything that happened in Incredible Hulk, and how, you know, he had the super soldier serum, and combined with Bruce's blood it basically made some sort of rage monster, and that he thought he was going to become, you know, Captain America, he's the good guy, and it made him into the bad guy. And you can tell he's getting a bit emotional by even talking about it. So then we strip forward to the 5th best part, and this one's got a few little bits and bobs in it, so I'll try and, you know, get through it as best I can. So basically Jennifer starts calling up Bruce because obviously, you know, Blonsky and Bruce had their problems in the Incredible Hulk movie, and she tells him that she has to represent Blonsky, and, you know, she wanted to call him up before she agreed to do anything. But just as Bruce is about to respond, she just keeps talking, and literally the whole conversation is her talking and interrupting him responding. He never really gets to respond till like right at the end. And then basically she goes on to, after she talks about that, and he says, you know, he's okay basically. She tells him what people are calling her She-Hulk, which he obviously starts laughing and making fun of. And then she asks if he's coming to LA anytime soon. Now this is the big part. When she says that, they zoom out a tiny bit. You can see legs crossed on a desk, and then it zooms out more, and you can see he's on the Sakaar ship that crashed it, that shot at their car, which caused the accident in the first place. It's the Grandmaster's ship from Thor Ragnarok. He's on that, and then he just literally does warp speed and the phone cuts off, which is absolutely crazy, which obviously, if you're in the know, you know that they're now trying to tease up World War Hulk, which means we are possibly gonna get a new Hulk movie, which, you know, I'm really looking forward to. And I really hope if they do a World War Hulk movie that we get, you know, the Hulk back and not this Professor Hulk, because Professor Hulk for me was funny in Endgame, but then when you realize when it comes to a fight he's kind of useless. For me, it killed all of it for me. So yeah, I really hope we get, you know, the brainless Hulk back, maybe just for a little bit. A film would be cool. So then the phone cuts off, so she thinks, okay, I'm gonna call my boss now, tell him I'm gonna take the case. She calls the boss, tells him, you know what, I'm gonna take this case, it's all good. And then he says to her, he's like, mate, you might want to turn on the news. So she turns on the news only to find out that Blonsky has escaped. Now, not only do you find out that Blonsky's escaped, it also explains to us when exactly this TV show is taking place. It proves that the beginning of it was taking place before Shang-Chi, because on the news, in the news, it shows him fighting in a cage fight in China, it says. So that basically says to us that the Abomination we see in Shang-Chi is the one that's just escaped from the prison in She-Hulk. So it's almost like slightly going on at the exact same time, which is kind of crazy. And then basically she says, well, that sucks. And then turn to the camera, and then it fades into the credits. And that's pretty much the episode. There's a post-credit scene in the episode, but, you know, it's nothing really exciting to get to me really talk about, other than the fact it's basically her as She-Hulk, basically heavy lifting loads of stuff for her family. So nothing really happens in it. But I thought I would let you know what it was in case you haven't seen it yet, or you're not going to watch it and you just want to know what happens in it. So yeah, that was basically the episode, guys. Nothing, you know, fantastic, I would say, happened in it. There was a tiny tease to Wolverine in a newspaper article. It says a man with metal claws gets into a fight in a bar brawl. So obviously that's Wolverine. So it insinuates that Wolverine is existing at this time. But I don't know if many remember, Wolverine gets into a bar brawl in the very first X-Men film. So are they making the assumption that those X-Men films is our timeline? Because if it is, these X-Men have been here the whole time. And then are they basically saying what happened in the X-Men didn't happen in the times that they came out? They kind of making it happen now? And if so, does that mean that Xavier, does that mean the Magneto is still going to be Jewish? I don't know. It could just be a new version of it, and they've completely eradicated the Fox films, and that's part of another multiverse. But yeah, man, hinting at Wolverine, World War Hulk tease, Hulk's going back to Sakaar, and Bronski's escaped. Quite a few things happened in this episode, man. It wasn't as good as the first episode. I would definitely say, for me, the She-Hulk show is still about a 7 out of 10. It's not exciting. It's better than Ms. Marvel, but I'm still waiting for it really to kick in. So we'll see when it really kicks in and how many more things we've got. Still no sign of Matt Murdock or Daredevil. Obviously, we're going to get him soon. But yeah, that's everything that happened in today's episode, guys. Remember, if you do like these recap videos and you like any of my other videos, please like the video and subscribe. We're stuck at 107 subscribers, man. We need to get up. We're aiming for the monetization. Yeah, all the help is needed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Remember, as always, live long and prosper. Nick out.